Hey AfterBuzzers, welcome to another exciting episode of Spotlight On. Today I'm going to have a very special guest. She's kind of a Jane of all trades, Heidi Cox, and we'll be talking with her shortly. Stay tuned.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AfterBuzz TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Jam out for a second.
Good song.
Yeah. What made you pick this one?
We're using it in our season finale.
Ooh,
we're using it in episode 210.
Exciting.
Courtesy Jonathan London, actually.
Fantastic.
He introduced me to this band.
Great.
They're amazing.
Nice. Well, welcome. Guys, today I'm talking to Heidi Cox. She is quite a few things. First of all, she's a creator, producer, writer, and actress in the very funny series Stalking LeVar. Well, you haven't found him yet, so it's Stalking LeVar. And then she's also behind Dweeb Darlings, which we'll talk about that as well. Welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me, what is Stalking LeVar for those out there who are unfamiliar with this material?
I mean, I can give you like the tagline.
Go for it.
Okay, Stalking LeVar is a comedic web series about a woman in search of a very important person.
Oh, cool.
Who is that person, really? That's the question.
Well, and then also for those, do you prefer nerd or geek?
It's interesting because I feel like all of the above apply.
Sure.
So my company is Dweeb Darlings, but I just think that's another word for nerd or geek. So, but I know some people get very specific about it. I'm open to any nerdy, geeky, dweeby, dorky word. I'm good with whatever.
So for those out there who are not familiar in the Star Trek universe, who's LeVar?
Okay, LeVar Burton. So I grew up watching a show. Do I look at a camera? Okay, just look at you.
No, you're all good. Unless you would
like,
love to tell the viewers something.
I'd rather talk to,
Yes,
I'd rather talk to you. It's
absolutely.
way more personable. But I grew up watching a show called Reading Rainbow.
Great show.
I think a lot of us
Yes.
did. And he was the host. That was my first exposure to him. And I just remember that there was always there's something to him. I don't know, when you're a child, it's like a Mr. Rogers, like a LeVar Burton, a Mr. Rogers, other characters like that would usually grab your attention. They had sort of a gentle friendliness about them. Yeah, yes. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
This was like 90s?
It's in a book.
Yeah.
Well, 80s too. 80s.
Oh, then it must have reruns then, because I'm like, I don't think I watched it much in the 80s.
You know what you should find is the we did a punk version. We used the punk version at the end of the season 1. At the end credits is very funny, of the Reading Rainbow theme. But yeah, that was my first introduction to him. But then he was also in Star Trek: The Next Generation. He played Geordi LaForge. Kunta Kinte and Roots. Past, present, and future. LeVar Burton. Who doesn't love him, right? He's a lovely person. So
Have you actually met him in real life?
yeah. Yeah, I've met him. I see him every now and then.
Does he know about the show?
He does. Yeah. Whenever I see him, he always says, "Hi, Heidi." It's
What does he
looking
think
good.
about it?
He likes it. I think.
good.
That's what he says. I hope that's. I think he's being genuine. So yeah, he really loves the musical episode. I think the last time I saw him, he was like, "You should do another musical episode."
Oh,
I'm like,
nice.
okay, I will take note. Yeah. But yeah, he's very sweet, very, very gracious about it, and. Yeah, because I can't imagine what it felt like at first when he heard about us. It must have been like, what is happening? What is this? And it's mostly, the title is Stalking LeVar, just because it kind of grabs you.
Sure.
And in the first season, it starts out as two women that believe LeVar Burton is their best friend, but then we get into more of the why, and then go inside a couple of the characters' minds in season 2, so that we can, kind of dissect why are people obsessed with things? Why do we ignore things in our lives and become obsessed with other things?
Sure.
Yeah.
Now, what was the inception of this series? What made you make it in the first place?
Wow. I could go pretty deep. I can start from. Well, I was in a pretty intense situation where I was in an abusive relationship, a situation of domestic violence. I'm okay talking about it. I know sometimes people feel like, whoa, that's a lot of information all at once. But it was something that in some ways it was a choice that I had made, but you sort of feel like you can't leave that situation, and then you don't really have a sense of self because you're giving everything that you have to this relationship and this person that you want things to work out with. You want them to love you. You want everything to be okay, and you start to forget who you are, right? So I think that it was just a survival mechanism of like maybe the little girl Heidi that still, you know, we all have like a little child version of us living in us that was just like, we should make a show, you know. And when I realized that I was neglecting my career, like really sat there and thought, I really need to make something. I want to create. I need comedic material. I'm tired of waiting for people to cast me in things. And I have an idea. So I reached out to my best friend, Megan Green, and we've known each other since we were 15 years old. So we had a meeting like right around my birthday in 2013, and I just said, I have this idea, and I think it could be very simple and funny, and I know how I have access to a camera, and I think we know enough people where we can grab like the equipment we need, and maybe we can find some people to do this, but will you help me write it? Because she was a comedy writer who had lived in Chicago for years doing sketch comedy. So I'd never really written script stuff before. So, you know, essays, short stories, stuff like that, but never script things. So
It's a little different than regular writing.
Yeah, and I was a little nervous. So she sat down with me. She was like, absolutely. And she sat down with me and we wrote the first script, and we reached out to Stephanie Pressman and, you know, several people. Who was Alex Roten. Alex Ware is the pumpkin geek. Sorry, Alex. Alex Roten ended up directing the first episode. We actually tried to co-direct the first episode, and the footage wasn't that great, so we turned it into a trailer, and then we reshot it, and and we kind of went from there, and then Megan got super busy. She ended up having a baby, so she was just like, look, this is your baby, you should keep going with it, and I'll be there as much as I can, but I can't be there as much as I was. And so, you know, I just kind of started carrying it from there. Like we wrote the first script together, and then the second one I kind of wrote it, and then I sent it to her, and she would make some changes, and then third and fourth of the first season, I wrote that, and then I just kept writing.
Pretty autobiographical in a way, right?
In a way. I mean, I've never stalked a celebrity. Like, I've never done that. But, you know...
the characters have your names.
Right. Yeah. We wanted the characters to have our names. And we wanted to give the other characters, like, different names.
Any particular reason?
I think part of it was just so that people would get to know us.
Okay.
I think that was a lot of it. You know, it's definitely a fictional version of me with some of my quirky... ness and, you know, thrown in, but you know, she, like I said, I've never actually stalked anyone, but I've obsessed about things, and I've ignored things and walked around and like, not, I don't want to say delusions because that sounds so harsh, but like walked around in a state that was sort of like a way of protecting myself and not really dealing with what's right in front of me or like looking in the mirror. So it really becomes more about finding yourself, you know. And what is LeVar representing in this situation, you know? And I think that's about to be revealed in the next episode, really. I mean, unless people have already figured it out, which it's fairly obvious, but...
Well, we won't spoil it for those who haven't watched it yet. So now, the first season is only a few episodes, but it's season 2 is a bit longer with like 10 technically.
10 total, yeah.
The last one's a 2-parter.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, 10
and
total.
The first part came out today. Yeah. Right? Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
So you guys can go watch that on YouTube right now. When you're done with this, then go watch it.
Please go watch it. Yeah.
And yeah, it's fun, and it's interesting to see the progression between season 1 to season 2. Like some people I notice in the credits, like they stuck around, but maybe they did a different job later on.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
And then you got sponsors by the second one too?
Yeah, we did. We, you know, they give us products, and, you know, Hintwater was one of our biggest sponsors. They're amazing, especially when we were shooting the musical, because it was, you know how in October in LA it's like 100 degrees.
It's actually really hot, yeah.
There's usually like a week that it's 100 degrees. And in the musical, there's a scene where we're outside in the street in a neighborhood that I lived in at the time, and it is that hot out there. And so we had 16 cases of that water, and we went through probably half of it, you know. And then the next day we were shooting in the theater, which was also very hot because you can't have the air running while you're running sound, you know. So yeah, it was, they're great, like Espionage Cosmetics. They donated some makeup, and Black Dog Yoga, who also allowed us to shoot in their studio. They're amazing. I've known them forever.
That was a funny part of an episode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that one was really fun. That was directed by America Young, who's one of my favorite people in the whole world. So she's a very talented director, and she's a lady, which I love to support female directors. So,
Woo.
yeah. Woo. And then who else are our sponsors? Castle Corsetry. And
You had a food one.
oh, yeah, Chipotle, right? Yeah, Chipotle, and I feel so bad. I feel like I'm going to forget somebody.
It's all right.
Yoga Design Lab donated some product as well.
How did you reach out to sponsors? Because I feel new filmmakers, maybe that's one of the hardest things is like, you maybe don't know me, give me stuff. Like, how do you reach out to people?
You know, that was a lot of Stephanie Pressman's job. It was delegated to her because she's good at that kind of stuff. So Stephanie is co-executive producer of the show and a founding member of Dweeb Darlings. And so she's really good at that stuff. You know, she has her own show and blog called Fashionably Nerdy. So she knows how to like reach out to these people. She's teaching me how to do it too. But like with Chipotle, I ended up doing it because we had a connection, and I just reached out to them and asked them if they were able to donate at all. Like it was an independent film project where we're trying to encourage more female-driven content. And so they fed us a few times. And
that's cool.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. There's a lot of lovely people out there.
Well, yeah, for being especially this new web series that, you know, maybe people aren't aware. It's like when you get a bigger name company, be like, yeah, sure.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, like we did reach out to some companies and they were like, we don't know who you are, so no. You know,
well, yay for perseverance.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's okay. Like I'm just happy to make a thing. I'm happy making a thing. So if people watch it, great. If people don't watch it, then okay, I made it and it made me happy.
This is true. There's too many people that they're like, yeah, let's make this thing, and then nothing happens. But then you actually proceeded to make it.
I think that I would have disintegrated into nothing had I not. You know, it was really one of those moments in my life where I was really losing myself. So, and it took a long time for me to really gain, but it helped me gain a sense of self. And then I was able to really know who I was. I mean, it really is about, like, the show is about finding yourself, because that's literally what I've been doing, you know, the past, like, what is this, 3 years now.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's crazy.
Well, also with filmmaking, aren't you given daily challenges and long-term challenges that really test you and who you are as the individual and how you interact with other people, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah, I mean, and you run into all kinds of situations.
Everything.
Yeah, everything that you can think of. I mean, and sometimes you learn... you know, my big thing with Dweeb Darlings is I want us to all treat one another with compassion and kindness, and sometimes you run into situations where people aren't doing that, and then you have to, as the boss or whatever, you have to address that. And it's not an easy thing to do, and not everybody's going to understand you, and it's really tough to accept that, like, that there are people in the world that are not going to understand you, which has been something that I think a lot of us, especially artists, because we're out there expressing ourselves, we want to be seen and heard, and it's really frustrating when somebody doesn't see you or hear you, but it's gonna happen, and learning to, like, just sit with that and be okay with it. You know, that's a lesson. That's something I've been learning, and you know, but overall, I've had a really positive experience, and I think most of us have. You know, it definitely tests relationships and friendships, and you learn things about each other that you didn't know, and you know, okay, I'm good at this, you're good at that, you know, and how to delegate, and you know, I started from scratch. I had no idea what I was doing, really. So,
but you still had the courage to go and just do it anyways, because that's the problem. Is too many times people, they're just like, oh, I don't know how to do this, and then they just don't, you know. I think that the only way, I'm very kinesthetic in how I learn anyway, so the only way I was going to learn was to do it. Like, you know, someone could tell me 1,000 times and I'd be like, okay, you know, but until I'm actually doing it, I'm not going to learn. So, and it was just, as artists, I feel like we have this incessant need to put our energy into creative forces, and if we don't do that, then it's gonna either like metastasize, or it's gonna come out in another way that may not be as healthy. So it's important for us to express ourselves, I think. Absolutely. So. Now, you've mentioned it quite a few times. Now let's get into what is Dweeb Darlings?
Dweeb Darlings is my production company that I co-founded with Megan Green, and it was founded at the same time as we created Stalking LeVar, because we wanted to create a company, with nerdy girls that encourages female-driven content, female creators, women in the industry. We work with a lot of women. We work with a lot of men too. It's more about finding a balance, really. That's really the most recent episode that was released was directed by Moosey Dreyer and Tom Gray. So of Player Piano. I don't know if you know that show, but I actually feel like it's won a few awards. But so we work with men too. It's not that we don't. We love the guys. We just want to encourage, and we want to set examples of women who are doing, so that maybe even younger girls, or maybe not even younger girls, just women see examples of it. Like, oh, okay, here's a female director. That doesn't seem so impossible now, because it does. It helps when you see examples of kind of what you want to do, and then you feel encouraged. And I think it's important, and I think there's a movement in Hollywood right now with the female characters even being more layered, more diverse, even like ethnically diverse. That's something that we're working on too. We're trying to be more ethnically diverse as well, and incorporate everyone. So, and I can't say that we're perfect yet, but we're trying to get there. And so yeah, and we're producing. We're actually developing a few other projects right now too. A romantic comedy, possibly a science show with Caroline Gale, who played one of my sisters in episode 6, the one that made the brownies. Yeah, and a short film for sure. And I think there was one that Stephanie was pitching to me as well. So if you have ideas, feel free to send me an email at dweebdarlings@gmail.com. I'm always open to pitches. So
and then where do you like distributing your content primarily, and what's been the easiest way to get that content that you make out there?
The easiest way that we've been doing it is YouTube. I think a lot of people utilize it. I think it's a lovely platform because it just makes it really simple. You put it up, and when you're dealing with like artists, music and things like that, you kind of have to deal with some of the copyright things. But I've run into that a little bit because my friends, like Rose's Pawn Shop, which is some of the music we've used in the show, they have a publisher that's been keeping an eye on it, and I keep having to write to them and say, hey, we have their permission. It's all good, But I mean, for the most part, yeah, like YouTube's great, for that. And I never really had in the beginning another goal for it other than just putting it out there, and just seeing what happens,
I don't know. That sounds like a good reason to, go forward with it and make it anyways, because it is the probably easiest way for people to access it,
right,
is YouTube, because you could do it anywhere. You could do it on your phone. You could do it at home, and it's easy to show somebody and be
Absolutely.
like, hey, here's the thing I did.
Absolutely.
Have you been able to use that as any other part of your career of like, hey, look, I made this show?
Yeah, it's definitely come up. I've been cast on other things because of the thing that I've created, which was part of one of the goals of making my own content. Like I said before, I had needed comedic material because all I had was a lot of dramatic material, and I wanted to do all of the things, all the things, because it's mine. Like we're gonna do this, right? We're working. I'm playing with my friends. What do you want to do? Let's do it. What do you want to do? Let's do it. So my big thing was like rom-com stuff. Like I throw rom-com stuff in there all the time. I love doing physical comedy, singing, dancing.
You trip a couple times.
Oh man, I love doing that. That's my favorite. It's my favorite. I love it. In episode 205, second season, episode 5. Like I do a pretty awesome. I'm really proud.
Was that the skateboard?
Yeah, I was really proud of that, and thanks to America Young who helped me with that because she's quite the stunt lady. I was able to like fall off a skateboard and face plant, kind of. It was pretty funny. Yeah, but yeah, I love stuff like that. So what was the question?
Yeah, I think we
it help me in other areas of my career. Yeah, I've been cast in a few other things, and I've met people I never thought I would meet. I've been places I never thought I would go. I've made amazing friendships that it would have never happened. That's not really, it is kind of career oriented, but I think the personal connections are so important, and had we not done that, then who knows where I'd be, what I'd be doing.
So would you say that's good advice then to young filmmakers or any age filmmakers out there, is if you're not getting the content you want, is just make it, because it obviously can help you out for sure.
Yeah, I think it's important not to put it like I just think it's important not to put too much expectation. Do you know what I mean? Like you want to make the best thing possible, but don't go, I'm going to make this thing so that I can be famous or whatever. Like, do it for you and for you know, if there's something that really speaks to you, that's something that's like really meaningful to you, if there's something that you feel like you need to say, sometimes you don't even know you need to say it until you start saying it. And that's really what happened to me. I knew I needed to say things. That was all I knew. I didn't know what I needed to say until the story just started to evolve. Now that's how I work as a writer, I guess, you know, right now at this point in time in my life. But yeah, a lot of people, like, they do it with a goal in mind to get famous, or, you know, definitely my goal was to have content so that I could maybe get more work. Absolutely. But like, you know, I'm gonna go viral. I'm gonna, like, we haven't gone viral. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to say that publicly, but we haven't. And you know what? I'm okay with it because I know our content is really good, you know, and we have very loyal fans. I don't know if you've seen.
I saw on Twitter already, you posted one thing about this interview and there's already like retweets and favorites. I was like, wow, she just posted it.
I don't even know.
That's great.
But Jason Kelly, I don't know if you know this guy. He follows us on Twitter. He follows our show. I feel like he lives somewhere in the Midwest or something like that, and he does the sweetest 2-minute recaps of our episodes, and it is the most adorable thing. Pierre, we love you. You're awesome. I mean, you know, it's just the best. So I always will share that. We have such loyal fans and supporters and backers. There's so many backers, you know, from
you did like an IndieGoGo campaign. You want to talk about why'd you do that and the process of it and what happened with the end result?
Yeah, the first season was 4 episodes and was pretty much paid for out of mine and Megan's pocket. And we just fed people mostly. That was what we did. And yeah, I'm very happy with the quality. I think it's very fun. It's silly. We have, you know, awesome composer. We got really lucky. And then I just wanted to be able to pay the crew a little more. So we did an IndieGoGo campaign. We started at about this time, or I guess it was finishing up about this time last year. We were trying to raise $10,000 for 10 episodes. So that was $1,000 an episode, which still isn't a lot, but it's something, right?
Sure.
And then we managed to raise about $7,800. And great, you know, super grateful. We got toward the end of the season and we needed to shoot a couple more episodes and we're low. And so we went ahead and did a finishing funds campaign to raise the amount that we didn't make.
Yeah.
Right. So that we could finish the season and, you know, pay our editor, pay our, you know, composer, all of that stuff. And it's amazing how quickly the money just disappears. You know, but yeah, it was really great. I mean, we gained a lot of fans that way, I think. You know, it's a lot of work. People, like, you hear crowdfunding, you think, oh, that's going to be easy. All these people, if everyone I know, I have 2,000 Facebook friends. If everyone I know gives $1, I'll have $2,000. It's a little more complicated than that. But, you know, you have to stay on top of it. And that meant me. And, you know, Stephanie was on it too, as much as she could be. But, you know, when it's your baby, it's like, you know, so every night I'm like lining up different tweets. I'm like tweeting about it. Every morning I'm checking it. Plus I'm like going to my regular job, and it was a lot of work, but we managed to get there, and we're so grateful. Like, I can't even believe like how far we've come with it. And I think everyone's happy. So
of course, you made money via online campaign, which those can be hit or miss with some campaigns. What made you pick IndieGoGo? I've seen some other people recently, they pick one, they like one over the other, or they've had trouble with one versus another.
IndieGoGo is it's flexible funds, so you don't necessarily have to hit your goal to get the money. And I thought that was good.
It's the safe side.
Yeah, right. I think, you know, some people argue that Kickstarter is better because it makes you more motivated to make the money, but I've never done it before, so I just wanted to kind of, that's how I work. I just kind of, I'm like, I play it, like I'm gonna check it out. I'm gonna see how this goes, you know, and yeah, it turned out great, I think. I'm amazed when I see these larger campaigns, because we managed to raise, I guess in the end, we probably raised about $11,000, and I'm really amazed that like the ones that are raising like $200,000, and I'm like, whoa, that's wow, okay. nice, you know. But I'm also, when I look at our season, I'm really proud of us that we were able to make season 2 on $11,000. Like, that's pretty good. So, from what I'm told.
Well, for sure. And not the episode, I mean, season 1 is any lower quality, but you can definitely see an improvement to season 2.
Yeah, definitely.
You probably had better access to different things, and you had different music too as well. You had a lot more songs, which were really nice.
Yeah, a lot of bands were like letting us. Oh, sorry. I should give a shout out to all the bands.
Go for it.
Yeah. So my friends from back home in Greenville, South Carolina, Katie Rockwell, and Larry Hoskins. Yeah. So they're known as Katie and Larry. Very talented. You guys should check them out on. Let's see. I think they're on Reverb Nation. So, and the very first, I would say, actually all the way through until like episode 7, we used their music, and we even used a song of theirs in the episode that we just posted, just as
I like that one.
Yeah, right. Like, there's really good stuff. And then Rose's Pawn Shop is the one that like rolls out the end credits in this episode, and we used in episode 8. But they're really great. We've used them a few times, and then coming up next week we'll have Rose's Pawn Shop and Punchline with their song Universe. So that was really nice of them, and thank you again, Jonathan London, for introducing me to that band, because they're really awesome, and I love it. So yeah, I mean, it's just, they're so generous and wonderful, and I love that, because it's like artists supporting artists, and you know, we want to give shout outs to them too. So
of course.
Yeah. Katie and Larry are really interesting because their music is so diverse, you know, because they've got like cool like ballad sounding stuff, and then there's one that kind of sounds like a Western standoff in episode 4, and it's I'm so proud of them, and I love supporting local artists back home too in South Carolina, so yay.
No, it's a good way to bring people together on a project, because some of the jobs you don't necessarily need them to be where you're filming.
Absolutely.
If they do it digitally. Now, you also had a lot more guest stars in season 2, because season 1, it was a smart planning of, you have limited number of characters and you don't need to worry about as many actors.
Right, yeah.
But season 2, you opened that door. So you want to talk about some of your guest stars and extra actors?
Yeah, we opened all kinds of doors, including like mostly in season 1 we were shooting outdoors too, or at least with natural light as much as possible. Now like we're at studio and everything. Guest stars, Cass Ambar from The Expanse and the movie Room. Very good friend of mine who is just really sweet and willing to come on. Jonathan Root, who's the elevator doctor. I went to college with him, but he's guested most recently on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. He's been doing really well, and he's done a lot of Nickelodeon shows and Disney stuff. Let's see, we've got David Blue from Stargate Universe, very good friend, very sweet, very generous and talented, really good. He also coached me a little bit, so he's a really good coach as well. And then, let's see, Margot Rose from Star Trek The Next Generation. So she played, there's a very famous episode called Inner Light, and where Captain Picard passes out on the bridge. Yeah, passes out on the bridge, and then like essentially hallucinates this entire other life on another planet, to a point where he finally starts to accept that that's where he lives now. And before he wakes up on the bridge again and realizes it's only been 40 minutes. And the woman who plays his wife on that planet is Margot Rose, and she was in episode 5. That's why there's a little joke with, the guys playing the flute, and
yes.
Yeah, it's for the hardcore Trekkies, that one is. So we knew that not everybody was going to get it, but you should check out that episode though of Star Trek The Next Generation, Inner Light. I think it's in season 4, season 5. Let's see, who else do we have? Jesse Heyman. He is just hilarious, and he's most famous for a Super Bowl commercial he did where he made out with a supermodel. And I'm trying to think who else. Was there anyone that you had written down that you...
No, just I think you kind of covered it, and then I was going to ask. So apparently you're a Star Trek fan.
Yeah, for sure. Star Trek The Next Generation, that was my favorite. Okay. Yeah.
So you Trekkie versus Star Wars?
Oh, I love Star Wars.
Okay, so both, equal opportunists.
Sure, yeah. Like Star Wars, I guess Star Wars I was more into as like a little girl, probably. And then I got into Star Trek when I was about 13. There was an episode, my favorite character on Star Trek The Next Generation is Data, actually. So because, you know, emotional unavailability, it's, you know, that's why everybody loves Spock, right? You want to, but there was an episode called Data's Day, which a lot of people find the most boring episode, but I loved it because it just followed around the android and like, what was his day like on the ship and his cat and where does he, you know, and I just thought it was awesome. And then I was like, I like this show. And I just started watching it sort of obsessively there. Yeah. So, and I would not miss an episode. I remember one summer, my family, we would go to Myrtle Beach and stay at a beach house with, that was owned by actually one of our producers, Jadon, and her brother, and we were all nerdy. Like, it was all my parents' friends, and they were all grown, but I was always like trying to be grown up before I was grown up. So I think I was 13 or 14, and one of the guys had like recorded VHS tapes of Star Trek: The Next Generation, like all of them, and I stayed up all night watching them. I'm serious. The whole night. Like, I looked outside and the sun was coming up, you know, like, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I stayed up all night. And my mom didn't even care. Like,
you know, you're on vacation. It's summer, whatever.
Yeah.
I did that with Twilight Zone.
Oh, really? Yeah. Twilight Zone's amazing. Absolutely. Yeah. But yeah, I guess Star Trek was like my first, like, real nerdy obsession that I had. And then it you know, I explored from there. So like, I went from that to, you know, Lord of the Rings and Doctor Who and Harry Potter and, you know, of course, Battlestar Galactica, and then of course Star Wars. I love Star Wars, and I love the most recent movie that has a female protagonist who's just badass. You know,
excited for Rogue One?
Of course, I love that. Another girl. You know, like, it's really awesome.
And they're not exclusionary though, because they both have male other characters in it too. So it's not necessarily saying only girls.
Right. No, I love it. Yeah, and it's not like but it's like they don't have to be rescued or which I think Disney's been doing a lot of too. I've noticed, like, in Frozen, people love Frozen, love, and I like it. I like it a lot. The story itself, I'm like, yeah, okay. I like the music. But my favorite thing about it is that the female characters aren't being rescued by the males. And the males are there. They're like, some of them are helpful, some of them not so much. But they save themselves, you know? And it's about sisterly love and loving yourself.
Is this a reflection of your show and your personal interests?
Namaste, guys. That's, you know, yeah, a little bit. I just think, you know, when I was growing up, a lot of time you were taught, a lot of times, is that even correct grammar? When I was growing up, you were taught even just through stories that your Prince Charming was going to come and save you, you know? And if you're feeling, you know, like I spoke before about how, you know, I was in a domestic violence situation. Well, like, even in my childhood, you know, my parents weren't together, but my father was violent. And so, you know, if you have those kinds of issues, you keep hoping that your prince is going to come and save you. You know, you want to be scooped up and rescued. And my mom did everything she could to try to empower me. But, you know, you keep getting fed a lot of these things. And I'm not like one of these angry people who's like, you should never. Because I love The Little Mermaid. And I love Cinderella, you know, but I just think that there should be a balance, you know. So
exactly. Well, it's similar to how you're talking about with your production company. It's not like only women feminism of like evil men. No,
boys
it's
allowed.
Balance. No. It's the balance.
Absolutely. We love the guys.
Yeah, because when you do one thing, if it's only women, you're doing exactly what the men do, and it's not necessarily an improvement.
Some men.
Yes,
we should say.
This is true. Not all, but a majority of films, like, if you have only female cast.
Yeah, most of the men that work with us are so super supportive of the cause too. Like, they love the fact that they like empowered women. They like women that are getting stuff done. You know, and I think a lot of guys like that. So cool. Not that we're trying to do things to please the men or anything, but, you know, I mean, it's just there's support out there for it.
No, that's good. Have you with your comments, have you had any negative comments like in the opposite of that, of anybody going like, well, or has the general feedback on the comments on the videos been pretty positive, you feel?
We're pretty lucky so far. I mean, I know that there's trolls out there, and we have had a couple here and there. I think the very first thing I ever posted, which was the trailer, there was a person, I can't say for sure who it was, but I suspect that I knew this person, and I have an idea of who I think it was. And he said some really nasty things about my acting, you know. And then one of my friends who, like, you know, he kind of engaged him, and they kind of went back and forth with, like, the troll battle, and I ended up deleting all of it because it was negative.
Get rid of it.
It was just like a bunch of negative energy. Namaste.
It's not flowing with your
we
chi.
don't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That is a little bit me. Like the chi namaste thing. Like I love yoga and meditation. So, but I do know people that are just ridiculous about it. Like and use it in ways that it's like that guy. There's a guy on YouTube. I can't remember his name or the name of his channel, but it's like ultra spiritual guy, and he like does all of these very ironic.
Is this the one where I've seen it where they did a yoga video, but he's swearing the entire time?
Probably.
Cut out the BS around you, and no, they say all the words.
Yeah. That's probably him. He also did one where it was like if meat eaters acted like vegans.
Yes.
Yeah, that guy is hilarious. I don't know. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I wish I could, because I want to support other YouTube creators, but he's funny. So like there's people like that too. So it's just, and it's like don't say what you don't want because you might manifest it. And it's just like, okay, let's give everyone OCD, like
seriously.
But yeah, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, so the negative comments. That was really the only one. I mean, we had a couple of Twitter things too where I think I tweeted something about this was during our campaign, like help support women in film. And at the time, it was a picture of Mindy Robinson. She was supposed to be in our show this season, and then we had scheduling conflicts and it didn't work out. But I said, help support women in film like Mindy Robinson by donating to our campaign. And someone said, or you could give your money to someone who needs it, And I was like, whatever. Like, I just ignored him. Like,
well, you've made it when you actually have trolls and haters.
Right, yeah.
Because you've made it enough that these people are like, wait, I need to say something. Even if it's a bad thing.
I know, right? One of my friends who's an actor had, like, a troll just recently, sent him a message and say, oh, is that what, if meat eaters acted like vegans, vegan gains? But what's the guy's name? Because what's his channel's name?
The channel is Vegan Gains.
Is it called Vegan Gains? Okay.
That's pretty funny.
I thought it was called Ultra Spiritual, but that's cool. No, I love him. He's so funny.
Have you reached out to other YouTubers after you've already made this and be like, hey, I made this, do you want to collaborate? Or is that like your next step?
Yeah, that's a really good idea, Kari. I know a few of them, but I guess, yeah, we kind of like talk about collaborating. I mean, technically, with having Stephanie on the staff, like that is collaborating because she has her own YouTube channel that does really well. And, the Library Bards. That was another guest Library Bards. Cute. How could I? Yeah. They wrote an entire song just for the episode. Like, it was the sweetest thing. I remember when they were shooting it, I was sitting there like crying because I was so touched. I was like, I can't believe that they're here singing the song. And
yeah,
but yeah, like we've collaborated a little bit, done a little bit of crossover, but like Winston A. Marshall, he has a channel too, and he's the one that's he did like the rap number in Awaken with JP. That's it. Phones. Oh, I don't. Yeah, mine's in my lap. I don't know. Sorry, my phone. That he's telling us to keep our phones away from the mics. Yeah, Awaken with JP. Mm-hmm. He's so funny.
Well, now you got to reach out.
I know, I love him. I don't know where he is, but I will try.
You can figure out.
I think that would be so funny to have him like.
Well, because your character already has
or like come in and take one of Heidi's classes or something.
Yeah, I know we're both like adjusting phones.
On the floor there.
Excuse us. Sorry. All right, well, it's funny that it's unfortunate, but then again, the internet's full of trolls, that if someone was criticizing the acting, because it's like immediately you can tell that it's kind of like a hyper reality, that these are not normal people, or at least the main characters aren't. But that's kind of what makes it funny, is because they're the ones that are a little absurd, and the rest of the people like are the straight characters.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we've had a few dislikes of video, but I know that happens, and I get excited. I'm like, we have some dislikes. That means we're legit, But yeah, like that one person, I think he was just like, it's too bad, Heidi looks good on camera. It was too bad she can't act, or something like that.
Because you can tell. Well, they missed the point, because I was gonna say you can tell it's like kind of cheesy in an adorable way of like, because your character's so excited to do this thing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Bad. I'm
always. That's why I work with an acting coach. I don't. I don't think I'm like Meryl Streep or anything like that. But I enjoy acting, and people are it's subjective. Some people are going to like it, some people aren't. Some people are going to have personal issues, and I think that's what that was. I recognized the way the person was writing. I kind of knew. I'm pretty sure who I knew it was. So, and it's like whatever.
Well, away with the negativity. And you had a fun event that you went to recently of D&D fundraiser.
That's right, I did. It was
tell me about
amazing. It was for an organization called Reach Out and Read, and it was put together by Satine Phoenix and Rudy Rutenberg in like 3 weeks. I can't even believe how quickly they did it. But yeah, it was a celebrity charity. See, I had it right the night of, and other people were saying it wrong, and now I'm getting it wrong. CelebrityCharity20.com was the website, but that was the name of the tournament. And so it ran all day at Meltdown Comics in Hollywood, and different teams played Dungeons and Dragons. And I got to play with a really cool group of people. Rudy Rutenberg was our DM, and I played with Jonathan London and Kirk Thatcher, who I know fairly well from just like we've been in the same events together. But like I know he's worked with Jim Henson, and then Mike Furman, who did music for
Wait, you're a girl and you play D&D?
I was the only girl in that room too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I didn't really know anybody except for Jonathan, so I was
Represent.
like, yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna sit here.
How'd you do in the game?
I did okay. I mean, it'd been such a long time since I played that I was a little like, ugh. And there was a part of me at the end too where I was like, am I saying goodbye because he was having us say goodbye to the cameras? Am I saying goodbye as my character, or am I saying goodbye as Heidi?
That's a good question, actually.
And so I didn't ask it, so I just said goodbye as my character, which was sort of Detsy, and she's like, bye, but like everyone else was like, thank you so much everyone for donating, and I was like, oh man, now I come across as the dumb girl. Oh well, next time.
Hopefully people get that as a character. But you guys raised a lot of money, actually.
Yeah,
though,
they met their goal and then more, and it was so great. And I was super impressed by how well, like, how organized it was and how quickly they put it together. And I was really honored to be asked to be part of it. And I hope that I could do it again because I love D&D. I mean, my uncle introduced me to it because, like I said, I was always like trying to be older than I was at the time. So when I was a teenager, I was always hanging out with like my uncle and my aunt and their nerdy friends, and they would play D&D, and I was like, I want to play improv acting. Let's do it. As a fantastical creature, yes, please. I want to be an elf. Sign me up. So.
And you said the charity involved, what was it again?
Reach Out and Read.
See, there it ties in.
I know, Reading Rainbow.
And
I didn't say anything about it that night. I thought about it too, and I was like, oh man, I should have said something about that.
Well, now you just tweet about it and be like, hey.
Yeah, because I think from what I understand, it works to provide literature to children in when they come in for like well checkups and things like that. So they go home with books as well, and encourages the parents to read aloud to their kids. It's very important.
Very cool. Well, I was something else that's important for you is nonprofit and working with domestic violence and special needs. Yeah. Are you currently working with any particular nonprofits right now, or?
At the moment, I am actually looking for some. One of my favorite organizations is Women for Women International. It's it's not really as much in the domestic violence category, but it works to help women in countries where villages have been attacked, women have been raped, sometimes their husbands murdered, and they have to find ways to provide for their family. So Women for Women International will go in and teach these women skills to even if it's just like weaving purses or something like that, a skill so that they can feed their family. And then you can also sponsor a woman on this organization. But and I was working for a while as an ABA therapist, which is applied behavior analysis, with children who have autism, with a company called Autism Spectrum Therapies. So, and I do still work with special needs kids as well. So, the domestic violence Burbank Family Services I've been involved with before. So, and I'm talking to them right now about doing some more stuff. I wanna make projects that speak, that give positive messages about overcoming these situations. And it's something my mother went through, with my father, and then we did it, my sister and I, as children. And then you just it's interesting. You end up in this cliche scenario where you're like, I'm never gonna, and then whoa, here I am. How do I, how do I get out of this? How do I decide that I want to get out of this? It's a very strange sort of. It's like a Stockholm syndrome kind of situation when you're, so women and men, because there are a lot of men that have been in those situations as well, and sometimes they're embarrassed to talk about it. But when you're in it, you're usually an empathic person. You have a codependent sort of personality, which means that you're trying to control a person in a nice way, like being nice to them and hoping that their behavior will change, and it doesn't. And then you get very frustrated. You feel like you're going crazy, and then you forget who you are. You start neglecting your life, and then that's all you have, and you love them, and you don't want to leave. And so it's a very deep well that you can get in, like a rabbit hole to go down, and it's hard to climb out, but there is help out there, and there are people who care. It's really important for people to know that, because you think you're all alone a lot of times. So yeah, I mean, we're, I've thought about doing a film festival that would take submissions of projects that speak out and send positive messages about overcoming domestic violence. That's very much an embryonic stage, though. Like, I don't really know if it's. I'm doing research more about, like, if stuff like that already exists, but I definitely want to incorporate it into my art.
Well, it does sound like you definitely combine what you have a passion for in life and into your projects, because even within the web series, it's a metaphor for the same situation. Because even though in the show she's not necessarily abused or anything like that, but she does have an obsession and needs to kind of overcome that and understand it to move on. Right. So.
Thank you. I'm so glad that you can. You never know. Like, you never know if your writing's going to translate. You just don't know.
Yeah, because you're like, wait, did people get it?
Yeah. You get it because the thing with.
Yeah, and you don't want to spell it out too much. And you're like, do I have to feed it to people? Do I get it? Yeah. No, it definitely comes across, and it gives it, I think, more depth, learning more about you as the individual and the one who's the creator behind it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Of course. Well, thank you for being a good example of a female filmmaker who's making content, who isn't just like, I'm going to do this thing. Because there are lots of people like that in Los Angeles, which I bet you have encountered.
Oh, sure. I've even probably been one of those people. I'm sure I have, And it's easy to do that because it's scary. Yeah. You don't want to do scary stuff. You don't want to jump off the cliff, But sometimes you do, and then you fly.
Or take the plunge, go swim. Yeah,
absolutely. And then the water's deep, and you're not going to hit your head. It's going to be okay. But it is scary, I think. And I think, I mean, a lot of people say this. They're like, I believe that if something frightens me, I should do it. It's almost it's the same principle in yoga. Like, there's poses in yoga that I hate so much.
Crow. Man,
you hate crow?
I can't get it.
I love crow pose.
I can't. My arms, no.
Yeah, I can't do. Is it extended crow or something like? But if I hate the pose,
and dolphin's weird too.
Dolphin's very weird.
Just weird.
Dolphin's weird because of my neck, and I get all. But that usually means that I need to do it. Chair pose, hate it.
Really?
Hate it.
Oh, that one's so easy.
Okay, but you know what I mean.
Yoga after,
right? Yeah, but it's just like that's such a great metaphor for life. Sitting still, being still, in discomfort, breathing through it. Yeah. We want to escape. We don't want to do that a lot of times.
So the next episode comes out next week. Sure do you have a day yet?
Yeah, Tuesday.
Tuesday
the 6th.
All right.
At 10 a.m. Sorry.
No. I was going to say, I was about to set you up, and I'm like, no, you're answering the question.
10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so that would be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for all my friends back home.
And then where do people find it online?
You can go to dweebdarlings.com. You can go to youtube.com/dweebdarlings, or you can just search for Stalking LeVar.
And where can people find you online?
I'm at Ms. Heidi Cox on Twitter. And also on Facebook, I'm Heidi Cox. You can find me pretty easily. And both companies also... Well, Stalking LeVar has a Facebook page, Dweeb Darlings does, and we also have a Twitter account at Dweeb Darlings. So.
There you go.
Yay. And Instagram.
Oh, perfect. There you go. And photos as well. So, video. So, guys, make sure to go onto YouTube. You can watch all of season 1 and all of season 2 to get ready for the finale, which is next week, of this wonderful little, it's a really sweet show. It really is. And it's funny and quirky, and even if you're nerdy or not, you can still find something in it that you'll enjoy. You can find me online at Kari D. Lane. That's Karidlane. And thank you for watching this Spotlight On. We'll see you next time. Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.